Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question. And that is to really look at whether you should confront or address the psychopath, the narcissist, the covert narcissist in your life. Essentially, bottom line is, will this do you any good? So that's a great viewer question because it also, I feel, helps to validate the freeing up of energy for you in your life. Really the ultimate goal of healing and your work that you do through all this and sort of coming forth from a wounding psychopathic or narcissistic relationship is that of liberation, that of freeing up, getting you to a space of personal freedom, your own domain, your own place, and really that release of energy that comes as a result. But before we get started on today's topic, I just want to give a super huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated and contributed to the channel. Thank you so much for your ongoing support and your contributions and donations. It really does help keep the light on, so to speak. It keeps me inspired to know that we're actually creating content and having and hosting and holding discussions here that make sense, that are benefiting you, that are helping you to sort things out and give you some really solid, concrete, usable tools that can get you to results. Really, that is the whole goal of why we have established and created the channel here. So thank you so much for your donations and your comments. And absolutely positively, if the channel has been a positive resource and place for you, please do feel free to participate and donate in the PayPal Donate Now button, which is at the homepage here at the About Peace and Harmony channel. So thank you so much. And I really want to dive forward and move forward on this great viewer question. And it really is, it helps you to understand sort of the goal, the objective, and how to know that you're really on the right path. Basically what I call positive orderly direction thinking, feeling, behaving, and becoming. What I call pod thinking, positive orderly direction, is to know that you're getting a sense of peace and serenity and also a release of positive liberating energy. And when it comes to that, you have to know that making and arriving at that place within yourself, it has to begin with you. And if you are so used to looking to this narcissist, this egocentric person, this power-hungry person, this psychopath, this individual to sort of set the frame or the tone of how you perceive things, then this is where the deliberation, the disempowerment, the distrust starts, is because somehow, somewhere, some way, this person has put the frame on your perspective and the frame on how you feel about yourself and the emotions. And realize that, you know, how you perceive things, how you feel things, how you experiencing things is basically where it is all at. That is the whole crux of what is accounting for and contributing to and the ongoing effect of this manipulative and toxic relationship, which is based on a pathological sense of their self-importance and a downplay of yours and a devaluing, making basically, you know, you less than, less important, less powerful, getting you on their ego trip and then getting you basically on their magic carpet ride that tells you you're going nowhere, you're a nobody, and this is an emotional etheric energy experience that has put you in this place and has caused you to feel and do and behave in the manner that has gotten you into trouble, putting up with their behavior, creating a cognitive dissonance, which is separating you from in a number of different important ways. And this will lead up to helping you to address whether you should quote unquote call them out or confront them. Really what you need and want to do is take your own frame back. And we're going to discuss that. And it is to understand that their frame, of how they're treating you is oftentimes can be done in a very subtle or covert manner. But it's basically their larger, ego edging God out, which really is you're in the God space. And when you're in amongst these people, they can oftentimes edge you out, even though you're in a discussion or relationship with you. And they can do this by not letting you say a word, not allowing you to contribute, not allowing you to share your feelings, your experiences, basically speak up for yourself, or to not be able then, not feeling comfortable or not having the understanding that you must be able to articulate and be in touch with your feelings. So even furthermore, you have to be in touch with so you can speak up your feelings. But if you are around these people, they will do a great job of extinguishing you verbally, emotionally, physically, etherically, and just basically putting out your inner light, your inner fire. And this is done through the pronouncement of their ego. So this is those people who really want you to know that they are the ones who have the power, who are in control, who, either through the subtle covert way of violating your boundaries, through violating and, not giving you or not validating you, not showing you where you're at, and that it is important and that they're not discrediting you and devaluing you. But furthermore, then this creates the cognitive dissonance where then there is a huge gap between what you truly feel, what you truly need, what you truly want to be, what you truly want to become, what your true strengths are, and then what they are needing you to be. So there can be this huge, vast gap in that this creates a cognitive dissonance within you. Not only that, but they are then expecting you to treat them with reverence, respect, piousness, adoration, keeping them as the authority, the authoritarian, the dictator, the one who calls the shots, who makes the choices, where the buck stops here. I am, the one. I am the alpha. I am the one above. I am the one who has the final say and put up or shut up. And I don't care if you like it or not. This is how I'm going to treat you in this downplayed manner. So there is the mistreating of you in these ways. And then the expecting that you're to give them attention. You're to give them the love. You're to give them the power. You're to give them the authority. And that you are then walking authority-less, powerless, helpless, feeling less than, feeling like a dog with your tail between its legs, sitting in a crouched over position like a dog that just got in trouble, shrinking down into a collapsed state. And when, there's a huge disconnect then, a cognitive dissonance between then how they treat you and then how then they're expecting you to give them the love, the attention. So you're having to then identify with the abuser. You're then having to go back for more and more abuse. You're having to find yourself in constant contact or constant relating to them and then playing this over in your mind so that even when they're not around, you're then carrying this toxic residue or sludge or depression or anxiety which of course is the, fear, because this then being treated then less than in this criticism is received by the body in a fearful, intimidated state because of the self-distrust and the gaslighting. You shouldn't question me. You shouldn't doubt me. This is my opinion and this is the right. It's this over the narcissist and the psychopath oftentimes can have an over-inflated ego, which translates then to overconfident or overconfident mistreatment, or this hostile sort of heated energy, which then, you can't bark back against, you can't stand up against. You are always shut down. They will always have the final word. You're always getting the smaller piece of the cake. You're always getting the smaller brownie. You're always getting the smaller hamburger. You're always getting the short end of the stick. You're always getting less airtime. You're getting less listening time. You're not getting any of these. And then you're expected then to adhere to and then keep them, acquiesce and address them as the chief, the head honcho, the big cheese, the big guy, the big girl, the machismo, the ultra feminine, the goddess, the diva, the god, the, Machiavellian, type where, they're supposed to be, riding in and riding out on a gallant white horse or a black stallion, male or female. It doesn't matter. They're expected for you to relate to them on their high horse, and that, you are always, going to be picking up the what behind, or polishing their shoes, or whatever it is that you then find yourself doing for them to keep that to keep that dynamic, to keep that understanding of yourself in place intact. So you then become chronically habituated, conditioned, programmed in this manner. And depending on where this starts out in your life is going to be the intensity of how long it continues. And you're going to repeat this. The feelings begin, a mood becomes a temperament. A temperament over time becomes like a personality characteristic of you. And then if you keep letting this go, this characteristic becomes your identity. It's then equated with your I am. And there's a splitting off, basically, of this false self or false way of relating to the world and thus to yourself. And then the other relationships that you pick up along the way, the other jobs that you pick up along the way, the other decisions and choices that you make for yourself along the way, including what you drink, what you drug, what you listen to, what jobs you pursue, what training you pursue, what opportunity or optimism or pessimism you have about yourself or the world at large. And then, you're basically feel like your life is shot. Your energy is shot. The way that you address or speak up or confront this issue, this person is shot. You then, enter into, and then, so there's a sort of fragmentating, a splitting off of your true power, your empowered state, where you're at peace, and then you're in touch with your strengths, your desires. I know what I'm interested in. I know what I like to do. I'm okay with myself. I'm okay with my energy. It's okay for me to exist. It's okay for me to be one person. It's okay for me to just be. I can breathe easy. I don't have to be anxious. I don't have to feel threatened. I don't have to feel like someone's going to blow up at me, criticize, slam the door, throw a hammer in my hand, throw a vacuum at me, throw a dust thing here, cook me the dinner. You're not have to, you can just be, you're in your own domain and you can respond, not react. So the disempowering is when you're constantly feeling like caught off guard, or you're always having to react to this individual, and you find yourself in violation of yourself. And there's a splitting off, a sort of, like an offshoot, if you will, of your true, a false self to sort of adapt and adjust to the treatment of this person. So you develop the people pleaser mentality, the I will put up with it mentality. And this eventually creates a tolerance for abuse. And then you find yourself, disempowered, uneducated, finding yourself in bad jobs, eating bad food, around bad people, listening to bad music, making bad decisions, living in bad places, bad communities, feeling threatened, unsafe, around the losers, so to speak, around the turkeys, around the pipsqueaks, around those people who are, treating you with disrespect like you're a nobody, and you find these people now as your bosses. We have a lot of viewers, who have these people in their work environments. That is a good signal for you to get out. It is time for you to shorten the gap, the break between what you truly want and what you're doing. So when you feel the cognitive dissonance, is because there's a huge gap between what you deserve and how you want to be treated, and what you want to become and what you want to have and pursue, which is, underneath the surface. It's there in 3D, it's there in living color. If you could only pay attention to it and spend some time and live in that space. But, if you've been around this, then there's a huge gap. There's a huge sort of lag time between then where you're currently finding yourself. So it's like being in the relationship, being in the job, eating the food that you should not be doing. There's this feeling like this is not really working out. This is really not good. This is not making me happy. I am fighting too much. I am in a space where, I'm kind of feeling overly quiet. I'm not myself, or I'm overly anxious and I'm putting up with a lot of things. And this is really not the real me. But you don't know what the real you is, so you continue to put up with it. You continue to stay in the marriage. You continue to stay in the relationship. You continue to do the same things every Saturday, every Friday, every Thursday night. You just find yourself kind of going along in autopilot because you don't know how to articulate the real you. You don't know how to, confront. You don't know how to address. You don't know how to speak up until eventually the pain is great enough, or the awareness is great enough. You've been doing the research now. You've been watching the videos. You have been listening. You've been taking notes. And you're saying, perhaps that is correct. I am in a narcissistic or emotionally abusive relationship, or in a relationship with a psychopath, someone who is operating with a lack of conscience and is, distorting and contorting reality. They are really leading me along and playing me for a fiddle. And, and so then, you come to the arrival, basically the crossroads, the aha moment. It's beginning to sink in, and you're now beginning to see that you have been tolerating too much. You've been living in cognitive dissonance for too long. You need to shorten the gap, minimize the gap, and erase and basically dissolve the gap between what you want and getting to know who you are, what you're interested in, how you want to be, how you want to feel, what you want to be treated as, and what you are actually receiving in the present moment, i.e. right now. So it is the importance of confronting yes, because once you take responsibility and accountability and are able to, in the privacy of this video, the privacy of your heart, the privacy in your awareness of the divine, that there is a bigger picture here, and that bigger picture, that divine intelligence is there and will support you and will help you and runs through you. And to understand that there is a valuable person that's trying to speak up. It's just been made very weak or meek. While in the presence of this person or these people, it is then to understand that I must confront, I must address, I must correct and settle the score. I must not have this erroneous person, this erroneous feeling in my life. I am now claiming stake. I'm now making a proclamation. I'm declaring it to be so, and so it is. And so you need to go through those painful moments, those very dark valley moments. The shadows of the soul, the dark night of the soul, the dark feeling where I am going to be alone is basically the scary feeling. I am on my own. I am independent and, distinct from this person. And even though you have held onto that yoke, Y-O-L-K, like they talk in the Bible, where you're basically saddled to this person or yoked to carry on something with this person. Like back in the biblical days, they'd have this piece of wood that it would be on two people, and then they would carry like a bucket of water or a bucket of grain or corn in the middle, and you were yoked with this person to carry it forward. So you need to take the yoke out. You need to get out of the yoke. You need to stop carrying this burden on your shoulders that's telling you you must carry these negative feelings or put up with and tolerate this. And this is, called eliminating the cognitive dissonance, where you're no longer putting up with the double standards, the double treatment, where they're mistreating you, but then expecting you to give them the love, give them the funds, give them the dinner, clean their house, clean their car, take care of their kids, whatever it is, be intimate with them in the bedroom, or put up with them at the workplace, do their work, take their sneers, their snares, their bad emails, their smear campaigns. Expecting you to put up with this in the workplace is awful. It is horrible. As well as if this is where you live, it is horrendous. It is horrific. To be mistreated and then expect to acquiesce and defer to them as the authority. They are not the authority. That oftentimes is the most painful statement you need to make. You need to scream out. Sometimes you need to confront it within yourself that they are not the authority. Even though they have treated you for years, decades, and such, you are the authority of you. You are the boss of you. You are the driver of you. If you feel your heartbeat, you are making your heartbeat. They do not have a pump and make your heartbeat. You make your heartbeat. You breathe your breath. You think your thoughts. You feel your feelings. You have to take that back and then begin to recognize that, and then be able to make louder and more communicated and more put out there your feelings. And if you need to go to the confrontation where you're saying, I'm not putting up with this, I am going. If you need to, make that confrontation, oftentimes doing that in a way which we can discuss in a very cool, calm manner, prepared manner, can be very liberating and very energizing, where you're correcting the errors. I am not putting up, I am not involved in this fight. Period, end of story. It needs to be done in a matter of few words, but choices and behaviors are the more powerful thing. It is to say, I'm not engaging in this cognitive dissonance. I'm not taking this maladaptive treatment. I am not tolerating it. Period, end of story. I am not in a fight over this. I'm not in an argument. I am not belittled. Period, end of story. You need to make that statement. I'm not putting up with this sexual abuse. I'm not putting up with this harassment. I'm not being put up with. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I am so sick of being harassed. I'm so sick of being sexually harassed. I'm so sick of being humiliated. I'm so sick of being downplayed. I'm not putting up with it anymore. If you need to speak those words, and you don't need to call them a psychopath, I know better now, I know what you are, do not engage them in this I know better, because then you're trying to use tit for tat. You're trying to use their medicine. I'm going to give you a dose of your own medicine. You're engaging them. You're looking for a response. You do not want a response. This is a non-rhetorical confrontation, period, end of story. You're making a statement. And then that can be very liberating. It has to be done within in order to be communicated without. Your liberation and freedom are what's important. It's your buddy, peace and harmony. Peace out.